In the history of video games debates, there is always a triforce of questions that everyone asks about. Are video games art? Do violent video games make you violent? And the one and only, should video games have an easy mode? I know you wanna come here so bad just to say, no, Dark Souls doesn't need an easy mode! Rules Miyazaki vision! Learn how to play it good! And I just had to say two things about it. First, calm down, it's not that deep. And second, as much as I hate gatekeeping in general, not every game is meant to be for everyone. There is something called identity that makes every game unique. Well, with modern gaming, unique is a strong word, but that's a topic for another video. What you gotta know is that this is one of those topics in which, if we meant to just reply the question, every game needs an easy mode, the answer is very simple. But let's double down this question. Does every game need a hard mode? The answer should be the same, right? If that's the case, why do people want a hard mode in games like Pokemon then? Since it's a game clearly meant to be for children. Why do people want Minecraft to be as complex as Terraria and with a lot of content, despite being a game that was always meant to be simple to begin with? Everyone, including me, me too, me, treat games in duets as if they were Gollum from Lord of the Rings. When the reality is, we gotta keep in mind who these games are designed for in the first place. The easiest way to check that is looking at the age rates, in which it says plus 10 years old for ESRB and more than 7 for the PEGI. Okay, now I think about it, this is kinda stupid considering how cracked kids are nowadays. When I play Fortnite build mode, these kids start to build Eiffel Towers all over the map. Let me just rewind this for a second. In the history of Minecraft is meant to be for everyone, right? I think we can all agree on this statement. Equip yourself, build a base, upgrade your gear, and go kill the dragon. That's simple. What happens if you just keep pushing content such as thousands of new dimensions, with 20 crafts on each of them, 4 different ores per zone, 100 more animals, 500 more blocks? Yeah, okay, I think you got the point. It's just overwhelming. But don't get me wrong though, I get it. We grew up and we want stuff more complex the more games we play, but some video games are not for us anymore. Some video games want to gather the majority of people they can, and if that means being stuck in certain decisions, it's cause they will give them more money and more kids will be able to play it. At the same time, it's not always about money, you just grew up and the game didn't grow up with you. And believe me when I say this, I suffered an entire franchise when Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't grow up into a more mature story after a decade of the second game. To be fair though, I'm not sure what I was expecting from a franchise that has a Mickey Mouse dressed like this to begin with. But good for you, I'll give you the right to say kids shouldn't be playing games like Dark Souls in the first place. And this statement is mega hypocrite on my part, cause I grew up playing violent games too, like GTA, but to avoid the headache that is explaining about violence in video games right now, I'm just gonna leave myself as an hypocrite for now. Going back to the Minecraft situation, there are already tools to make the game you want, as complex as you want, mods, add-ons, however you wanna call it. It's a very customizable game, but it wouldn't hurt the game to just put a little more content in general, as long as it doesn't change the simple core of the game. Just a little motion, I'm not asking for too much, just give us breadcrumbs every once in a while. I don't think I'm asking for too much to the most selling game ever in the history, right, Microsoft? Should Pokemon have a hard mode? I mean, I would appreciate it, but I don't think it's needed. I think with Pokemon games looking like this, they have other stuff to care about in the first place. If we just stick to the difficulty mode per se, there is nothing wrong in adding an extra mode because it's extra content. Maybe extra for you, maybe the type of content other people will engage with. And I'm gonna be honest, the whole discourse of Dark Souls fans saying, they ruin the vision of the game if they do it! We can debate if this franchise is applicable or not, but this doesn't simply apply to every game at all. You have no idea how beneficial it is to have difficulty settings on games that, on base, the difficulty vision they had in mind to begin with is wrong. It would have been so positive for Crash Bandicoot 4 to have an easier difficulty. Nico de Rico added hard mode and it's quite a mess despite being unique and benefits from the others' difficulty modes more than the new one added. And the whole concept of the open world in Elden Ring made Dark Souls easier from its core, the use of a difficulty mode, but also added a lot of filler and repetitive bosses for you to grind and compensate the lack of mode. Which makes me wonder if it would have made the game beneficial if it was easier in another way. The benefits of this are unmeasurable, like the benefits you will get if you leave a like and subscribe to this channel, yay! I could be here for hours talking about how difficulty in video games is so complex to the point that we cannot apply the same measure for every single game we play. But what happens with the multiplayer games?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I know, I'm aware that people that watch this type of videos don't care about multiplayer games, but hear me out. Field matches with bots has become the easy mode for those games lately, something that for casuals, kids and people with less reflexes is a good thing, and for basically content creators and people without shows is a bad one. Is there a way to solve this issue to make everyone happy? Honestly, not really. In all my years of playing video games, the same issue repeats in every single one of them. Rank modes that while they can feel fair or not for the most part, they're always gonna have the problem of the smurfs unless you charge money for most of those games. By the way, with smurfs I mean people that make multiple accounts to beat people in lower ranks, not the blue little ones. Yeah, sure, you can add modes separately to play against AIs in your games, but if they are playing a multiplayer game, it's because they wanna play around people at the very least. So splitting the player base to add different difficulty options won't really be beneficial either. So is it all gloom and doom for the eternal debate of difficulty in video games? Yeah. Nah, not really, but the whole debate starts to lose purpose when you realize we cannot really apply the same measure for every single game to begin with. You can add an easy mode, or you can add mechanics to help you the more times you virtually and fictionally lose more lives. You can add more checkpoints or cheat like we used to have back in the day, so you let people mess around with the game even if they are.
没有一正确的方式比赛。
I swear I need to make a video with that whole statement. We can add skill-based matchmaking in your quick plays like certain individual and make every game an unfun experience for the passionate player base that will stick with the game when the honeymoon phase is over, or remove it entirely and make the experience unplayable for casuals and newcomers. At this point you already realize the answer of this video is simply no. Not every game needs an easy mode or a hard mode. Not every game needs hundreds of complex mechanics and content despite how much you wanna keep playing that game. We all want to look out for our own fun without putting into consideration that the stuff you hate are probably the reason why more people play the game. And eventually there are exceptions to this rule as well, and sometimes making games casual that are from a hardcore genre hurts the game more than it makes it better. There are games that are unbeatable to start on them nowadays unless you have a friend playing in them to teach you how to play, and others that simply are so boring and predictable to keep playing due to try to appeal the most people they wanna achieve without realizing that they are losing the uniqueness and soul they had on the first place. I left a lot of examples and measures to solve this, but honestly, I think it's everything said regardless on difficulty and games like Dark Souls for example. I would rather just try to entertain you than give you a 45-minute essay with stuff you already heard of. But to stick with the topic of this video, I prefer to choose to tell this stuff in hard mode, cause at the end of the day, it's harder to make you chuckle than boosting your ego. I hope you all liked this video, and if you did, I hope you leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment, whatever you wanna tell me about this video. I hope if you do, at least you watch the video, cause damn, the people that leave comments just for the title it's very funny sometimes.